Hey everyone, how's it going? So I'm not working on anything. This is not a car video or a repair video of any sorts. So if you want to click away, go ahead. I understand. This video is in regards to what's going on with Mrs. Wrenching. So about 6-7 weeks ago, whatever it was, I made the video thanking everybody and explaining what had happened. Well, at that time, when I made the video, I had noticed a decline in her. Like, ever since the incident in November that they diagnosed as a hemiplegic migraine, she was doing better. And then come about mid-May-ish, I started to notice a bit of a decline. And I really thought it was just, maybe she wasn't feeling good. Who knows? I wasn't sure. Well, it progressively got worse. And we contacted the neuro doctors and stuff like that, and all they were doing at the time was they were changing her medications and stuff like that, and it's like nothing was helping. Well, about 2 weeks ago, I woke up to her having a full-on grand mal seizure. If you don't know what that is, it'll scare the crap out of you. When you're witnessing somebody you love have one. Luckily, I actually knew what to do. That's another story for another day, why I know that information. But I knew what to do. I got her on her side, made sure she was not going to hurt herself. Because in a grand mal seizure, your whole body is in convulsions. She came out of it. Okay. Contacted her doctor. She did not go to the emergency room. Contacted the doctors. The emergency room wasn't going to do anything. They would check her, but unless she's in an active seizure, what can they do? There's nothing they can do. So, contacted her doctors, and they're like, okay, well, she should probably be on this one specific medication. And going way back when, I had said, back in February or March, I had said to the doctors, I believe that what she's experiencing is seizure-related activity that's not actually manifested into a full-on seizure yet. That was my gut feeling, because I know a little bit about seizures, not from me personally, but somebody that I know and care about. So, now all of a sudden they suggest, yeah, should put her on this medication. Like I had been saying for quite a while. I'm not a doctor. But when you're with somebody as much as I'm with her, you kind of get to know certain things that are going on. So, they're like, we should put her on this medication. Okay. So, put her on this medication at a low dose, and you got to ramp it up. Well, then I noticed one night, I want to say it was Thursday night last week, all of a sudden she went into what's known as, or at least I believe it is, but I know that they're known as absent seizures. And she basically went blank. Nobody was home. She was sitting on the couch with me, and no one was home. Talking to her, nothing. Just before that happened, she said to me, do you smell that horrible smell? I'm like, no, what horrible smell? And that's when she went blank. If you know anything about seizures, that's another indicator that some people get that they're about to have a seizure. Fast forward, contacted the doctors again. So now they upped her medication. And they said, this could take 8 to 12 weeks before it starts having an effect. Okay, well, at least we think we're on the right track. So let's fast forward a little bit to Saturday afternoon. I could tell she was way off. And then come about 6 o'clock Saturday night, she says to me, can you smell that horrible smell? And I said no. And then all she said at that point was, shit. And same thing. Nobody was home. Went completely blank. At that point, I rushed her to the emergency room. And of course, every test that she has had, CAT scans, MRIs, everything else, in the past, EEGs no less, have come up with nothing. But when she had the EEG, that was actually at the hospital from the initial event in November. So I had said, well, you're doing this EEG in the hospital where she's laying in a bed with zero activity going on around her. The likelihood of her having a seizure is zero. She had never had seizures before. So we get to the hospital. I might be backtracking a little bit. I'm going nuts, I think. We get to the hospital. They find nothing. Blood tests are normal. CAT scan is normal. Everything's normal. They release her. Okay. So Sunday, myself and 4 of our daughters were able to get together via phone and that, and being together also. But we kind of were going over everything that's going on, because it seemed like sometime in April was when it started to change and start to go downhill. So we realized that back in May. Back in the beginning of May, the heart doctor, now they had even, because they weren't sure what was going on, they were thinking possibly a heart-related issue. So she had worn a heart monitor for 10 days or whatever the heck it was. I don't remember how many days it was. And then, we had to mail that in. Of course, nothing conclusive. Absolutely nothing conclusive. But we went to go see the heart doctor because they wanted to do a physical follow-up. So we went to go see the heart doctor, and he felt it was necessary for her to be on a certain medication because they felt her blood pressure was at the high end of normal, and her blood pressure has never been high ever. So they were thinking, let's try to kick it back down a little bit because maybe it's too high for her, because everybody's a little bit different. So I was like, well, she started this medication, and this happened to be the time frame when roughly everything started to go downhill. I mean, it was very slow. It was a very slow downhill. So we went and checked, or myself and one of our daughters, we were checking, and we saw the side effects that one medication had. Okay. Some of them are on there, on what she has going on, and some of them are not. But then we started to compare different medications that she's on. And we came across one, and when you combine the two medications, the combined side effects from the two medications, you check off every single box because they don't interact well. And they actually had a list of, these are the possible side effects if you're taking both medications. And you could check off every box. And it was dizziness, hallucinations, it was fainting, it was seizures, it was like tremors. She gets tremors too. There's a whole bunch of different things that she was getting. And guess what? Like I said, everything checked off. So I wanted to make sure that one medication, if she missed a dose, like what was because we knew she was going to go see the doctor the next day. So we wanted to see if she missed a dose, if she didn't take a dose that night, what would they want you to do? So if you miss a dose, they tell you don't double up on a dose, just take the dose the next day. So we saw the doctor the next day, and Dr. Benison Mangle in Mebane, North Carolina. If you're watching this, you're fantastic. We love you. She has been such an advocate for Meg this whole time. And she got to see Meg on Monday morning. And Meg is basically, what happens is, it's almost like you're dealing with an intoxicated person. And Meg never, ever drinks. Ever. As long as I've known her, I think she's had one margarita. That's it. And she didn't even finish it. So, that should tell you something about her. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, nothing. So Dr. Mangle got to see her in what we like to refer to as the drunken Meg state. And Dr. Mangle was actually shocked by what she was seeing. She could barely speak. She was getting tongue-tied, tongue-twisted, whatever you want to call it. Very slow. Like if she's running at 100%, I've seen her down as low as 30%, like speed and speech and everything else. And that day at the doctor's office, she was about 60. And Dr. Mangle was actually in shock. Dr. Mangle got a hold of, like she did a neurology test. She goes, this is not my category. This is not my specialty. I don't normally do this. But she actually got on the phone with neurology doctors and stuff like that. And she did all the neurology tests. And she basically said, okay, what you have going on is a neurological issue. It's not environmental. It's not like you have a heart issue or anything like that that's causing this. Everything you have is there's not something underlying creating this. It is a neurological issue. But what it is, we don't know. When we left, as we were leaving, I got calls from Dr. Hill from Cone Health, and he is a neurologist. And him and I spoke at length about what's going on. And so now we have an appointment to see him. We have seen him before, but the way everything presented itself was they were thinking it was just purely migraines creating these issues. Now he believes it's not purely migraines. That's why he switched her to that other medication when I had messaged him. So now I had actually spoken to him. And so he was quite concerned. Then I got a call from UNC Neurology. They want to see her. Got a call to get an MRI. She got an MRI that day, which was yesterday. And now she actually has she has an appointment to get the 3-day at-home EEG because they want to see what's going on because they fully believe everything that's going on is neurological. Excuse me. So it's just amazing because all of this was just not happening until Dr. Mangle finally saw her in her drunken state. She finally, last night she got the MRI. It was 5:30 at night. She got the MRI. Now, she has, like auditory sensations will really mess her up. Visual stimulation will really mess her up. So being in the MRI machine, you know, if you've ever had one, it's very loud and you get noises that go from this side to this side and everything else. And when she was done with that messed her up bad. She walked in, she had to leave in a wheelchair. It was that bad, she couldn't walk. Last night, by the time we got to bed, she was actually up around probably 80% of what she should be. So she was doing pretty good. Today, I spoke to her on the phone because I had to go to work, and she was pretty off. She was probably at about 60, like the same thing she was when she saw the doctor yesterday. So, anyway, I know the channel has been not doing what it should be doing, and I understand that the videos are not what they should be. You know, family comes first, and I know a lot of you have said that you know, to heck with the channel, you know, take care of family, you know. But I also am trying to go to work when I can. Luckily, Rob has been fantastic. He totally understands what I'm going through, what Meg is going through, and you know, he's been very generous with allowing me to take the time off that I need to take care of her. And it's just, and then I got my own doctor's appointments too. So it's just like, it's ridiculous. This week is just insane how many doctor's appointments we have between the two of us. But anyway, I'm rambling. I know I'm rambling. This video is way longer than I actually anticipated. But hopefully we get her situated. We get this whole thing figured out soon, and we can move forward, because this has just been agonizing, to say the least. Again, everybody, thank you for the well wishes. Thank you for everything, and you know, thank you for watching my channel. All right, guys. I hope you had a great day. Keep wrenching.